I'm back, and hopefully all this stuff is going to be working. And I figured I'd continue videoing the process on the 57 Chevy. I ordered what we'll call ram heads, exhaust headers, manifold, exhaust manifold, some kind of manifold. Anyhow, I got them, and they weren't the color they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be black. They came like a silver, like gray, and a film came off on it. So I had this high temp, this color paint, brand new can, and I figured I would spray them that color. It will look good in here, and it does. I have the nose up in the air, and there's a reason why, and I'll get to that in a minute. The color, I don't know if you could see it on the car, but this is the color of the exhaust manifold. And also, too, this one here, there was that one. It had like a ground spot. Someone took a grinder to the top of it, on the top of the horn, and then also on the outside face of where the collector would bolt onto. I don't know why. They're supposed to be brand new, not used. But I ended up painting them, a couple of coats. So I took off the old header exhaust. Even though they fit and they worked, they just weren't what I wanted. I needed for the pipe to go on top of the crossmode for the transmission. So initially when I got them, which was today, I tested and it wouldn't fit between the gearbox and obviously the head where they bolt on. And when I ordered them, I referenced my scenario here. They said, if they don't fit, obviously you can send them back. So they wouldn't fit. When I put the steering box in, and it is a power steering box unit made for the Tri-5, I had to put spacers between the frame and the unit itself because the pitman arm, the base of it that goes up to the steering box, would hit the frame, and I didn't want that. And I really wasn't into grinding the side of it because it was already painted, so I just figured I would just space it. And knowing that the other exhaust manifold, the headers, did work on there, but seeing that the headers weren't ending up where I wanted, well, that's why I didn't want to use them, and then I bought these. So I took the spacers out, bolted it in, and the Ram style manifolds fit. And there's probably, on the most part of it, maybe on the high side, 1/4 of an inch gap left. It is, it's not hitting anything, which is good. And right now I'm taking the tape off. I wanted to make sure I didn't scratch anything. But in the meantime, I took them off, and then I did go and grind around the area. I marked it first so I wouldn't go too far all the way around it, just the area where it needed. And I ground it off, and I painted it, and I put everything back. And not that it brings this to the center like I spoke of before for the steering column, but at least it does move it over a little bit more, and it gave me the freedom I need to bolt this in. So right now, I am bolting these in, 9/16 socket. I got to get a wrench on this inside one, and I'm going to get a wrench on that side or whatever I can get at so that I can tighten that one up too. So while I was putting it in, I said, I should do a video on this, show what I'm doing. And I know it's going to be a little tedious getting that tape out of there, but I'd rather have the tape on there and not scratch my paint job on my steering box. It's expensive paint. So, and you can't get it anymore, which was even more disturbing because they're trying to match it, but where they were getting their tints from, they're just not making it anymore. I guess in India somewhere where they don't know how to use a mask, it was killing the painters. It was eventually killing them or something like that. It's too bad that that's happening because I really like this color and I wanted to get more of it just to have it, just in case. So, in saying that, I'm still pulling off the old tape. Ooh, maybe I'm getting lucky here. Yes, all in one piece. Yay! Awesome. And there's the final piece on the box. It actually looks good in there. I like the color against it. I wanted black so it would just kind of blend in. But all in all, it definitely goes with that. And let's see. I'm going to tighten that side up, hopefully, so I can go to the other side. And the mic is still on. Hallelujah. Yep, hallelujah. And then I got to put the spark plugs back in. Yep. Take the tape off of this. I even put tape by the oil filter housing, just in case. I got it on top of the side engine mount because these cars came with front engine mounts, but I added some time ago the side ones as well. So I have actually two sets of engine mounts on this engine. Yeah, that's the way I like it. Tight, tight, tight. Now I need a 9/16 wrench. Yep, here we go. And I like this setup, the bolts, instead of the forever style 7/16, these little header bolts. And with the way the headers are made, it was really hard to get a socket on there, and some you couldn't. You had to wrench it with the open end a little at a time, a little at a time. It was just relentless. But now with these, I didn't have to do that. It came with the hardware. Really glad it came with the hardware. And it came with the gaskets, including the gaskets for the collectors. They didn't have the collectors. I would have bought them. They said the ones for my headers should work. I don't know, but I'll find out. That's for sure. And then my temperature sensor. That belongs here on the side of the head. And I do have some fancy tape on there for that. Alrighty, that's ready. I'm going to put some of there's only 4 of them on this side, obviously. This definitely is a break from sanding. I don't mind it, but I do try sometimes avoid it. I really don't want to do it all the time, and I need a break from it from time to time. Absolutely. And with these manifolds, you don't have to take the plugs out in order to get them in. Maybe one. I wasn't going to chance it being that they were already out for the headers, but seeing it now, if the box wasn't in, then it wouldn't be a problem. But, this is what happens. All I know is I don't have to take the engine back out. just to mount this stuff. And I do believe that my oil dipstick tube should be able to go in there nicely without any issues. It's even got a groove in there, I guess, for that, so that it clears the tube. Alright, let's get these tightened up. That's snug. That's snug. Alrighty. Let's see. Here is the dipstick and the tube. And it's painted really pretty. Nice and black. Let's see. I don't know if I want it hitting that exhaust like that. The heat. Turn it to the side a little bit, maybe. No, it's still going to hit it. Well, what I'll end up doing is, so I'm not going to basically tap it down in there so it doesn't leak. I'm just going to place it in there so obviously I don't forget to do it. And wrap it with some heat material that they put on the headers. I'll put some around that. I don't want anything happening there. And maybe I'll even put a band around that spot right there. I think it'd look pretty neat. So now I'm going to go over to the other one. Put that one in. Let's see. All the plugs are in on this side, so that's not an issue. All the hardware is on that side. I like opening up the package. Give me this. When I get something that has a bunch of hardware like this did, I like to open up the package and put it all together, space it out, make sure I have the proper amount, see what sizes, how many of those sizes that match up, put them in a group, so this way I know what I'm working with, and be able to assemble it a little bit easier and a little quicker. So I'm going to put the tools on the floor, being that the washers would probably end up on the floor. I'm going to put them on the floor. I'm going to leave these two up here because I'm going to put these two on first, along with the larger of the gaskets, because there are two of them together. The ones for the center, and then the other ones are separate. And it gets a lock washer first, then a flat washer. Yep. So the longer bolts end up in the center, like that. And I have a lot of room on this side to install this, so there isn't any concerns about loosening up the steering box, which I had to do. I took 2 bolts out out of the 3, and I pushed it down as far as I could, just so that when I was sliding this in, that the bolt can stay in there, because once you get that in there and you had the 1 bolt out, because of the steering box, you couldn't get the bolt in there. So that was the better way, other than disconnecting the engine mounts and then lifting it up. So I tried the other method first, and that worked out fine. So need a little more light. Okay, I'm not going to tighten those all the way up, because the other 2 gaskets got to go in there. And if you tighten them up, then you're not getting them in. I'm going to do the back one first. Okay, that bolt is started. Alright, that one started. Alright, one last one to go. When I looked up this kit, it showed it 2 different ways when it came to the ram horn style exhaust manifold. It showed that set without any of the hardware and no gaskets for $195.95. No, I'm sorry, $199.95, something like that. Then in the same line, when you're on the computer, just below it, it showed the same headers or ram heads with the complete set, gaskets and bolts, for $5 cheaper, and you got all of it. So I questioned that, and they said, yeah, that's what we got. I said, well, that's the one I want. I want them complete. I'll save myself $5, not to mention the fact that I'm going to save what it's going to cost me to buy the gaskets and then the hardware. So after tax, I think it was $227, free shipping. I've been dealing with this company for a very long time, and there was a long time that I didn't buy anything from them because I wasn't doing anything on the car. But I started with them, I think, 1988, something like that. And then I was buying a lot of stuff from them. In comparison today, it's a whole lot more money today for the same product. And when I was building that custom bike, I was even buying parts, the stainless parts that I mentioned. you know, and louvers for the fender, things like that, and sheet metal that I needed. So, hey, and then actually, when I transported this car from Pennsylvania to Texas, and that was in 2008, I believe, there was some damage that took place, and I had to get some stuff from them for the car. So, throughout the period of time, I definitely bought parts from them. I'm sure they would have liked for me to buy parts every day, and if I could afford it, maybe I would, but I can't afford it, and some of the stuff would just be too much. I got them all evenly snugged up. Now I'm going to tighten them a little bit better. Start from the center and work my way out. Double check. Alright, awesome. I think it looks great. Let me give you a close-up. Show you what I'm doing. Show you how pretty it looks. And hope that you hear me talking. It's dusty. And actually more dust is coming from the cover that I keep over it than what's in the air. But I like the color combination. I think it looks really good. And the jack that I did a video on how to repair floor jacks, it's holding up great. It has not settled one bit, and it's been up at least an hour and a half, at least. And this is what I was talking about. See the groove right there? Well, there's one there for the dipstick, but it's hidden. So I'm going to wrap this, and I think put some wrap around that. There's enough room to get it around there, even if I only get it around twice total. I'm going to try it. I don't want the heat getting on that tube like that. And there's the power steering new box. And I know I showed the steering column and stuff, so I don't need to go back over that again. But it did end up a little bit more in the center. So that's a good thing. I got that I took the time to go down there and rearranged all that so that I can get and use these, because this is the part that's really important, where I can make my exhaust end up where I want it, and that's to be on top. Let me get the light, because you get to see the bottom. See how beautiful it is. Move the tools out of the way. See how nice and pretty? Yeah. Even the kitty likes it underneath here. Yeah, I want the exhaust to go on top, over the transmission cross member. Where the headers end, the collector ended maybe 4 inches away, maybe 5 at most, from this, and it was down here. So I didn't want to see the exhaust sticking down below the frame. So now I'll be able to keep it tucked in with the frame, and then let it run back all the way back there and out and around the way I want it. See how nice and beautiful that is? Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, look how beautiful that is. I love it. It might not be everybody's flavor, but it's definitely my flavor. Look at that. That's gorgeous. I love it. Transmission's black too. The engine's black. So, look at that. Let me get myself out from underneath here. Scrape that off. There we go. Kind of nice and pretty. Yep. Alright, so I think that's going to be it for today. It's about that time. Just wanted to show the manifolds that I picked, and these were the ones that were on there, and they did fit, but they ended up where I didn't want them to. Even with that steering box, it did fit. So I'm glad they're in. Came out really nice. Now I'm waiting for my buddy Paul, Mr. Wasco, supposed to get me in touch with the components that I sent him pictures of. There was a guy displaying it on YouTube, how you can save about $800 on this new setup that kind of replicates the old style on the way it used to be mounted. Keeps everything kind of snug, because I don't want to use all that polished aluminum stuff. I want it all black. And it comes with the AC compressor, the alternator, and I think the power steering pump. And I am putting a hydro setup in here, hydro booster for the power steering and the power brakes. So that is definitely a must. Absolutely. But that's going to be it for now on this video on that beautiful 57 Chevy. I definitely do appreciate people watching, and if y'all would subscribe, that'd be awesome too. And I'm trying a different method, so that's why I posted will it work, because I don't know if this microphone is doing what it's supposed to do, if the camera's picking up on it. I know it's filming it, but not being a tech with all this interesting components like cameras, digital computers, I'm not an idiot with it, but I am not one of those tech guys that you can go to one of them stores and say, hey, can you fix my computer? Yeah, the geeks. But nevertheless, I hope you find it a little bit interesting, and that'll be that. So until then, have a great day, and thanks for watching.